Let's walk through our 4-position exam maneuver. Lay the baby on the exam table in the supine position. Next is the pull to sit maneuver. Pull the baby to a seated position from supine positioning. Some 2-month-olds will require some head and neck support during the pull to sit maneuver. The 3rd position is horizontal suspension. You will lift the baby and hold the baby above the exam table. The last position is prone. Gently place the baby onto the exam table on their tummy and observe the baby's movements. This typically developing baby is able to maintain the head in midline for brief periods of time in the supine position. As you can see, the baby is able to locate and track objects, and the eyes and head follow the object to 45 degrees. The baby also begins to show some anti-gravity movement and reciprocal kicking with the legs. Some atypical patterns that you should be aware of in a 2-month-old are the inability to track objects to 45 degrees and a predominance of head positioning to one side. The baby may also display long periods of inactivity and few anti-gravity movements. This typical 2-month-old continues to exhibit some head lag and requires neck support in the pull to sit position. During the pull to sit maneuver, the baby is able to generate muscle activity in the shoulder and upper arms to stabilize the upper body and slightly assist in the maneuver of sitting up. Once sitting, the baby requires stabilization at the hips, but shows extension throughout the spine when upright. The baby sustains some head control in the midline briefly for 10 to 15 seconds while upright. This baby exhibits significant head lag throughout the pull to sit maneuver. There is little arm and shoulder flexion to assist or counter the maneuver. Once in the sitting position, the baby requires stabilization at the hips, but also shows complete rounding of the spine and lower tone at the upper trunk and neck, requiring stabilization of the head and neck at all times. This 2-month-old baby actively works to sustain the horizontal suspension posture against gravity using the muscles of the neck and trunk. When the baby attempts to move the arm away from his body, we can see that head control is compromised and falls slightly into flexion. Typical of a 2-month-old, this indicates that the baby doesn't have enough trunk extension to hold the body against gravity without recruiting the muscles in the shoulder girdle to augment the thoracic extension. There is some anti-gravity tone seen in the hips and trunk as the baby tries to counter gravity. This 2-month-old baby shows atypical patterns, including little lifting of the head and little activation of the neck and upper thoracic extensors to counter gravity. There is also little anti-gravity tone in the extremities and hips, and the baby's body may have a rounded appearance. This typically developing baby lifts its head and trunk about 45 degrees off of the mat and demonstrates some neck extension through the upper thoracic spine. There is some flexion and adduction in the hips. The baby is gaining the ability to maintain balance by using abdominal muscles, resulting in little weight shifts and overall improved stability from the newborn to 1-month appearance in this position. The baby has increasing shoulder girdle strength as well. This baby is unable to lift the head or trunk off of the exam table even for brief periods of time. The baby may attempt to extend and push up on their feet and legs to gain some movement rather than using abdominal and core tone to stabilize themselves in this position. There is no flexion in the hips, rather, the hips are more flat on the mat and the trunk may be in a more curved position. Some non-motor milestones typical of this age group include beginning to smile at people, briefly calming themselves. For example, they may bring their hands to their mouth to soothe, cooing and making gurgling sounds, turning their head toward sounds, paying attention to faces, beginning to follow things with their eyes and recognizing people at a distance, and beginning to act bored by crying or being fussy if activities don't change. Let's review some of the red flags for this age.
There are several red flags to look for in a 2-month exam. These include the baby is unable to lift their head off the table when prone, There is very little extremity movement. The baby does not bring their hands to the mouth, does not consistently track with their eyes, and the baby doesn't have a social smile.